Now I remember hearing that the rights to the Dresden Files were with Fox for a while, and then they got bought out by Disney. Are you allowed to tell us where they're at in the process? Are they yours? Are they still with Disney? Or
Oh, I'm the creator. I can get away with almost anything.
I
Uh,
can do whatever I want.
yeah. Right now, I'm in talks. I got the rights back after it was with ABC.
Okay.
They were talking about a series, but there was all kinds of conflicts with some other things that they were doing. So it's like, okay, well, you can do the Dresden Files, but you can't do vampires because we're doing a vampires thing. We don't want them to overlap. Okay, we won't do vampire season one. Okay, you can't do werewolf season one because it's like, okay, well, so it's going to be fairies and wizards. We have questions about fairies. Like, oh, okay,
Oh my gosh.
but it
You
wound
guys
up
don't know.
yeah, it wound up being something that we just kind of went like, okay, this is too much. I mean, we got as far as another pilot script and so on. It wasn't. I don't think it was going the way that any of us wanted it to. So eventually, when Disney took over, there was a giant shift in management, and the exec who was in charge of developing the project wound up moving somewhere else, and so it got dropped. And so at the moment, the rights are in my hands. I'm working with some people. We're trying to set up something else for a streaming thing. I really like the direction this one's going. We'll see if it works out.
No, okay, all right.
I mean,
So,
one of those things where so many things have to line up in order to make it happen in Hollywood that even with the best of intentions and everybody going, yeah, we're absolutely going to do this. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
okay, and this is some new news, some little bit of breaking, so that's awesome. One of the questions that everybody seems to be asking, especially after, I mean, some will call it a debacle with the Witcher. How integral are you going to be, and how much involvement, and how tight are you going to be holding on? Because, and again, I don't want to badmouth like television writers
Mhm.
because some of them are amazing, some of it's just like anything else.
Right.
But the words that we kind of heard kind of coming from Henry Cavill, that the writers on the show weren't fans of the source material and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, where are you at with that? Like, is that going to be something that you're like, I'm
There,
not going to let them,
there ain't going to be a show unless I'm in charge of the writers' room.
oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's I can't imagine how much extra work that's going to be. It's going to be a lot, but yeah, what I've said was, hey, I'm going to be the writing room editor. I mean, I'll be happy to work with writers. I'll be happy to say, hey, this is a weak spot in your writing. Let's work on that. And here's how, here's what you've got. And all we have to do is twist it this much, and look how much, and it will improve it tremendously. I mean, I'll be happy to work with writers, maybe who don't have as much experience. But I mean, at this point, with the way that things are contracting in Hollywood right now, I think you're just going to see a lot more experienced writers working.
That
Uh,
would be,
I
that
mean,
would be amazing.
there's just because we started making 20 times as many shows as we used to, but we didn't have 20 times as many writers. So people have been signing on, and I think there's been that kind of expansion is just that kind of expansion of the industry is just requiring time for people to gain experience. For people to learn. Oh, I need to. This is how I can make it better. This is how I can do it better. But I think with the contraction, we're going to see an improvement in the quality of writing, just in general, which is something that needs to happen.
Yeah, yeah, I'm so glad to hear that, because like that's one of the things that just kind of gets under, as a writer myself. I mean, I'm nowhere near the level to get adaptations and stuff, but it's like I almost feel like some of the TV writers that we've been hearing over the last couple of years, like, well, if you were as good as Jim Butcher, if you were as good as Andrzej Sapkowski, you would have written a worldwide bestseller. Like, don't try to do your own thing here. Make their thing work. You
Yeah,
know,
when you're working with somebody else's property that they made, and I've done that exactly once with Spider-Man. Uh,
yeah.
but when you're yeah, there you go. But when you're working with somebody else's property, I mean, again, you're borrowing from the power and impact of stories that somebody else created. You know, uh, and if you could do stories that awesome, you'd have made them yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, you need to respect what's come before you so that you can give that same you can give that same feeling and that you know those same experiences to the audience that original story brought along.
Yeah, and I know you talked about you would be all for an animated series.
Oh, I absolutely would. Because that one I could do things like, no, his nose is wrong, fix it. You know, I mean, I could totally work out my control issues on that kind of stuff.
Well, and then you could just have James do all the voices.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I definitely have him do Dresden if we did an animated series. I would definitely do.
Oh,
that.
Have to. And
one we're talking about right now is a live series, and I'm just trying to figure out where else he could be that he would be awesome in.
Oh, see, now I have watched some animation that I like, but I'm just like, if we're gonna do Dresden, we gotta go live action. Like, is that how you feel too? Like, you would be okay with the animated, but you like, is that where you want it?
In my head, when I'm writing it, it's an anime.
Oh, okay.
It's an anime. It looks along the same style of Lodos War. If anybody's watched Tales of the Lodos War, it's sort of like that in my head. But doing live action, I mean, it'd be a lot of fun. I want to do it. You know, I want to show up and have like a recurring part. You know, like I want to be like
Stan Lee.
Yeah. Well, I want to be like the crime scene technician who just goes by and blinks because it's Dresden again. It goes on by. That kind of role. That's the kind of role I want. But it would be a lot of fun. I mean, even the first series was so cool. You know, going up to visit the set. You know, and to meet all these different crewmen and so on. So many people on the crew were fans. They were coming up and getting autographs and everything. The woman who played Murphy had read all the books, and she was like, "Can I get an autograph too?" Like, okay, so that was cool. And getting to see him do the various stunts and so on. We were up there, and stuntmen were getting ready for something where somebody was going to get hauled on a wire through into a wall, and so they were putting on the armor and all that stuff. And they called my son over and they let him try the armor on. He was about 11. It was a great day.